Oh, you left my heart wide open. You threw it on the ground. Oh no, but where it is now, it's waiting to be found. But then last night I tried to call you. It rang once, then straight to voicemail. And my heart, it can't take this hurting. In the meantime, I'll be searching. I'm gonna keep on searching. I'll be waiting. Maybe I'll hear you say yeah.
So I'm just going hot.
I've always been so optimistic. See, I'd push through thin and thick. How we used to risk it all, but now it's all down the drain.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ryan McMahon. I'm one of the three panelists scheduled here for this afternoon. Really honored to join River and Amanda to present on social media and art and how we use social media as a tool to support our art and to support the work that we are doing. There's no official host today. The way things will work is I'll talk for a while, then River will talk for a while, then Amanda will talk for a while. We'll go to questions and comments in the chat. So if you are watching and you have questions or comments, make sure to leave them in the chat. On Facebook or YouTube, we'll pull those and put them into our conversation in just a little while. And welcome to everybody. Welcome to all the EPA members that have joined us, and to all of the creeps that are yet to be members. Get your membership. Just come and join the gang. We're a bunch of Indigenous artists trying to make a difference, try to make good work during extraordinary times. So it's nice for all of you to have joined us here this afternoon. We're talking about social media and art, and I think that for me, there's so many different things that social media is, and so many different things that social media is not. And I think that as an artist, you really have to decide how you're going to use your social media channels, if you are going to use your social media channels. And how you're using them and why you're using them that way. Social media can be a place to post your breakfast. It can be a place to post your morning walk, but it can also be a place to promote events, to promote tours, to do merchandise giveaways, to connect to your audience. And the two words, social and media, when put together, are really instructive. And so I think that I think most artists actually don't really know how to use social media as a leverage point for their business, and we forget that that these are tools, right? These are tools to put in your tool belt, and I think that that the intention of each platform for artists is also very important, right? I think that there are platforms like Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, the major platforms, that are being challenged by new platforms like TikTok, Clubhouse, even Twitter Spaces is a new and emerging space, which I think is very interesting for me, as my Twitter following is my most important social media space, but also newsletter spaces like Ghost and Substack, MailChimp, and a few others. And I think that what I would like to present on today is the use of email newsletters as a driver for business and revenue. I'd like to talk a little bit about Twitter and Twitter Spaces and why I'm going to be pivoting and putting attention into that space. and then talk a little bit about emerging spaces and why it's so important to measure your investment in emerging spaces, and really think about what you actually get out of those spaces. I think a lot of people invest a lot of time on new and exciting platforms, and that's really important. That's what they're for. I think native TikTok is probably one of the most exciting spaces there is right now. It's so dynamic. It's wide open. You don't need to have been in smoke signals to be big on TikTok, right? Like we're seeing this emergence of this democratization of attention, of focus, in spaces like TikTok, where young people from the res that don't necessarily have any performance experience, or don't have any formal training, gathering up millions of views on TikTok. And so and that's amazing. But the secret then is, how do I get those millions of views from TikTok into my pocket? How can I monetize the work that I'm really good at, right? Because it makes no sense for us as Indigenous people to just do the capitalist labor of venture capitalists, right? It doesn't make sense for us to use those tools to make billionaires out of the investors and not have anything for us to show for it other than some views calculated through some analytics. So um, so we have to be really careful. We have to be very mindful of how much time and energy we invest in platforms, because we should be taking something away from these platforms as well. So I'm going to start today by talking about email newsletters, because I think that at the very least, uh, every Indigenous artist, whether you're emerging or established, you need an email newsletter. You should be, every chance you get, grabbing people's email addresses, putting it into your email subscription service, and staying in contact with those people. When I hit publish on Instagram, I have no idea how many people are going to see my post. I can look at my stories and I can see if 900 people have seen my stories. I can see the analytics, but I have 10,000 people on my Instagram. Why am I getting a tenth of that audience, right? Well, this is where the monetization of these platforms like Facebook pages and Instagram really comes into play. You want to get in front of more eyeballs, you pay to do that. The difference here with email newsletters is that people have opted in to receive your email. Now, email sucks. Let me say this again. Email sucks. Email sucks. We all get too much. Most of you don't even check your goddamn email. It sucks. But when you're an artist offering up value on a newsletter, and people want to buy your new t-shirt, and they want to hear your new single, and they want to pay for your new earring drop that you're doing, they want your email. They want to receive. They want that personal contact. And my open rate on my email subscription service, I have about 42,000 people on my email newsletter. My open rate is somewhere between 38 and 48%. So that means half of the people that I send this out to, every time I send it, about half of them open it, and actually click on things. I can track what people are clicking on and where they're bouncing to from the newsletter, and whether they're coming back. It's a really dynamic space, and you really get to understand people's habits and what people actually want from your newsletter. So I've A/B tested different styles of newsletters. So for example, I've put one in there where it's just like a short story. I've tried to make it funny. I've punched it up, and I want people to just read 750 words of something I'm working on. But I've also created another version of the newsletter, which is just link heavy. And I say, hey, this dropped on CBC Indigenous today. Did you see the new video from DJ Shub? Here's something that's happening on Instagram that is cool. And I've just dropped a bunch of links in there. And I can see that people are clicking out from the newsletter into the other spaces. And so the email newsletter offering is something that I think very few people pay attention to. If you're lucky enough to be established well enough that you have a label or a management company or something helping you with your social media, maybe they run a newsletter for you. But I know when a newsletter is coming from a label or a management company or when it's coming from an artist. And I'd much prefer to hear your actual words. Tell me about how your month was, how your week was. Tell me about the new song you're writing. Tell me about the residency you're going to be doing online with, XYZ organization. That's way more exciting. It's way more intimate. It's way more personal. By publishing an email newsletter, you're not just publishing into the void, right? You're not just publishing out into hoping somebody sees your Facebook post, hoping somebody retweets your tweet. It's a more engaged offering than just a passive offering. Now, when you start using hashtags in your posts and things like that, we all know about hashtags. This has become a main driver of traffic to your posts on social media. But the hashtags are still not foolproof, right? People still need to click it. And when you get a noisy hashtag like native TikTok can be, and what I mean by noisy is that there's just a lot of it. If people are spending enough time, they might find you down somewhere middle down the list if that's where you end up. So don't use social media as some sort of passive exercise. There can be strategy, really, really focused strategy, actually, on how you roll out, your content. Not everyone will think this way about their social media for a few reasons. One, I think that people use social media as a tool for business, as a tool for pleasure, right? And fun, or just as a tool to like completely disappear and not have to engage this way, which is totally cool because that's what social media can be. But for me, striking a balance of all three of those, that social media is a tool. It is an actual tool that I put in my tool belt, the same way as a construction guy put the construction guy. Is that what they actually are called? Construction person puts a hammer in his thing as tool belt. That's what social media should be for us. It's one of the most important tools we have. I want to go into Twitter Space. We have about 15 minutes each, and so this is just kind of like top level stuff. I encourage everyone to dig around a little bit and think about the tools as we all present them to you. The email newsletter services that I use are Ghost, which is a really, really awesome nonprofit organization that has created a newsletter website platform. They're a nonprofit, and so they aren't looking to scale 100x for their venture capitalist friends. They're a nonprofit, and so their fees and what you pay per month and what you get per month is consistent, meaning that they aren't going to do the Netflix model where everything starts at $7.99, but you end up paying $18.99 2 years later. They're not going to do that because they're not trying to make money back for their investors. I believe their plans start at $9 a month, and that gets you going. So Ghost is really good. I've actually switched all of my content, email newsletter content from Tiny Letter and MailChimp over to Ghost very recently. I was considering Substack as an email newsletter platform for a while. I had one on there. I tested it, but most recently in the last couple of weeks, Substack has shown itself to be basically a bunch of rich TERFs that are really just trans misogynists, and they're a garbage organization. So stay away from Substack. Simple, straight up newsletter offerings like MailChimp and Tiny Letter are very, very good, and I think a standard in the newsletter industry. So those are the tools I wanted to share in terms of newsletters. Ghost being my favorite one. They're just really good people. They're a nonprofit organization. Their platform is open source. They're constantly upgrading and making it better. So I think that it's one that I get really excited about. Twitter Spaces. Twitter, everyone knows what Twitter is. Twitter is probably my favorite social media tool, just because I get the most engagement on it. I average about 3 million impressions a month on Twitter. It can be a lot more than that, depending on what I've tweeted, but on the low end, I get about 3 million impressions a month on Twitter. And what's encouraging about Twitter Spaces is basically they have created a space similar to Clubhouse. If people aren't familiar with Clubhouse, Clubhouse is basically an online audio slash online type of radio space that is open for creators to sign up to. And it's basically an open room for people to sit and talk. The person that opens the room has to invite other speakers to come in, and they can engage in the room. People can sit and listen. I know a lot of people just sit around and instead of listening to the radio now, they turn on Clubhouse and they'll sit around and listen to their favorite creators. Um, Marketing guru weirdos. I know there's yoga classes and things like that being taught on the Clubhouse platform. It's really an innovative, exciting space. A bunch of celebrities, Snoop Doggy Dogg, like huge, all of the A-listers joined Clubhouse for some reason, and so you can sit at 4 in the morning and listen to Snoop smoke weed and play music, and if that's what you're into, that's what you can do. So it's a pretty dynamic space, but I've opted to not really invest in Clubhouse because I already have 40,000 people on my Twitter, and Twitter has a space similar to Clubhouse called Twitter Spaces. Twitter Spaces runs basically the same way. You can schedule your space. You can schedule the time for your talk. Of course, invite other people on Twitter to come over and to sit in and talk with you. And I think for me, the value of the Twitter space is that I've already got a platform there. People already know my brand and what I do over there. And on Clubhouse, I would be starting everything from scratch. And for me, the decision that I've made is to just stick with the thing that I already know, which is Twitter. There's a lot of conversation about the limits of Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces, and there's a couple of other knockoff products that people are trying to get out there that are similar to these two main offerings. But one of the considerations, of course, is accessibility. So for those that are deaf or hearing impaired, um, the accessibility question is a real one because it's an audio only offering. It's an audio only space. They are working on live closed captioning. There are tools that they claim will be rolled out very soon, but accessibility is an issue on those platforms, and it's definitely an important criticism of those platforms. The other consideration you might make if you're using these spaces is that these conversations aren't recorded. And so if you're looking to get into audio, if you're looking to get into podcasting, a lot of people are saying um, these are podcast killers, these platforms, but I could not disagree more. Podcasting is here to stay. Podcasting will never go away. It's a multi-billion-dollar a year industry. It's just a very different offering. What it's great for is like reactions. So if the Raptors last night, the Raptors played, they won on a buzzer beater. And you jump on Clubhouse or you jump on Twitter Spaces, and you can have your favorite sports and media people talking about the game, giving instant feedback. They can talk during the game, which is great. I've seen a couple of experiments done that way, where during the game they give their sort of own live action commentary on the game. So it's a dynamic space. You can't record those conversations, and so once they're done, which I think is actually really good. We don't need to record and be precious about everything. Sometimes you just want to jump online and have a conversation. And often on Clubhouse, that's where I'll be. I'll jump online with a bunch of other Indigenous creators and just sit around and shoot the shit. And then when it's over, it's over. And if you missed it, you didn't even know it happened. which is not great. I just told you to get everybody's email addresses so you can keep and retain all of the people that want to support you. But you can see the differences, in the platforms. Um, I think that's it. I mean, there's so many other things to talk about. I just think that if you're offering anything to anybody as an artist, that you need to provide value to them. You can use social media to snag, like you just trying to snag. Go ahead, you can use it for that. You can do that. Like, your butt looks good in these jeans. Yeah, to drop a selfie in your story. Like, that's also what it's for. But I think today what we are trying to come in and talk a little bit about is how we can use these things as tools. And I look forward to everyone else's comments here today and any questions that might come from the session. So, Miigwech, thank you.
Hello, guys. Um, I have the thing up here. But anyway, my name is River. I'm just gonna introduce myself and stuff and talk about why I use social media and probably just go up into like a little life story, I guess. Um, but anyway, my name is River Waterhen. I am Plains Cree from uh Minnesota Island Lake. Well, in that's how you say my reserve in Cree, Minnesota, and in English is Island Lake Cree Nation. Um, I've been living in Onion Lake for 10 years, and that's uh that's in like Treaty 6 area. I am 24 years old. Currently living in Toronto. Yeah, but yeah, so far I'm pretty nervous, but I'm just gonna go with the flow and stuff. Talk about how I use social media and stuff. Um, First off, I was really a pretty shy kid. I was really scared, like to show my dance. I never showed my dance at all due to growing up like being bullied and stuff, and um, like I was too scared just to show my dance and stuff like that. And for like in 2014, in 2014 was my first video, and I was so scared to like post that, man. And but when I first posted it, I got some. It was probably like 10 likes, 5 likes, but then it felt really good. Um, how I use social media, it helped. It pretty much helped me be more confident. Like I didn't expect like to get really good feedback, and getting really good feedback from people can really set a good mindset for you. And I grew up learning not to just look at the negative stuff and negative comments and whatnot. Um, I did a video on Facebook in 2015. It went viral, probably like 500,000 views or something, and that really changed changed the way how I show my dance and stuff like that. So I was like, ooh, like I didn't have any experience for like having scheduled videos and stuff like that, and looking into like probably like a moderator and manager stuff like I didn't know about that stuff. All I did was just post random dance videos and stuff. I didn't know you can make money on videos and stuff like that, make some income. And all I did was just post like random dance videos and stuff. And they did really well. And I can only imagine I made like a Facebook page or go look up like how to monetize your videos and stuff like that. Like if I did that, I could have been doing like pretty decent and like making money, you can say. But at the time, I didn't really think of money. I wasn't really into that stuff or something. All I cared was about is like creating content because I was so passionate about it, and just to put out content every day and stuff like that. And as I got older, I didn't really like post much. um, got into a relationship, got snagged, but um, that's another story. Uh, um, but yeah, I got back into videos and stuff, and I realized I can like make a little bit money off it and stuff like that. So TikTok came, and at first TikTok was like it was called Musicali, I believe. Yeah, Musicali. Um, I don't think you would be able to make money at the time when that first came out. Then they switched the name up to TikTok, and I never really bothered. I thought it was just like some stupid app or something. And then I realized what people were like. You can literally just make a video, probably like about a scissors or something, or just draw something, just do whatever, and you can like pop off on there. And like you can do a simple dance. You don't even, oh, I'm stuttering. You don't even have to be how do you say that? You don't have to be like a really professional dancer or anything. Like there's some dance like people that don't dance, they'll just try like a dance challenge or something and it'll just like go viral. And the way in my experience of TikTok, the way you can make like some income on that, you just do like live videos and stuff. Like TikTok live and there's like coins on there or something, I think. And you can receive money. But I don't do that stuff. Um but I was gonna move on to like Facebook gaming. Um so I just got into that and honestly it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. But back to the TikTok, all I do pretty much on there is just to like get my name more out there, and because there's a little icon where there's an Instagram logo and stuff like that, or you can put your like your links and stuff. So I'm pretty much just gonna put my link on Facebook and stuff like that. Um, my page is not only like gaming. I do dance videos as well, but I I pretty much succeeded in dance a lot. That was my main goal. I made it to Toronto and stuff like that. So I feel like I made it far enough. So I want to push my gaming side, and I play like Fortnite and stuff like that with all the kids that watch. I play Fortnite, Call of Duty, Halo. Um, there's this game called Fall Guys. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I applied for this thing on Facebook called the Level Up program, and you can get like subscriptions and stuff like that, monthly supporters. And there's this thing called stars, and you can each star is pretty much I think $80, 80 cents. I'm not sure. Um, but when people send stars um that'll like equal to like money you get and stuff like that from supporters. And that's pretty much all I'm doing, like um doing for I guess to make some money on the side from my creator side. Um anyway, I was gonna do a share screen and show my TikTok. Yeah. But yeah, here's my TikTok. I have like 20,000 followers, 100K likes. Um, there's supposed to be like a logo right here where it can show your Instagram and stuff, and you can put your own links, and people can like, I don't know how to say it, like, say if someone really likes your content, they can click on and like go to your other socials and follow you. I don't know what to show. Um, this was my last video that did pretty well, did like 70K views. I think it's gonna be a little choppy, the video and stuff, but that's okay. I'm watching the live, and oh, it's okay. I thought it was only like a little tiny screen, but that's good. I'll probably show one more. This one's not really a full dance, but it did like 170,000 views. And I'm just talking about like pretty much talking about how the world sees indigenous people, like natives, like drunks, like being drunk, like the stereotypes and stuff like that. Like we're just drunks, we get everything handed to ourselves and stuff like that. So I just I don't know, I made something like that and it just went viral or something.
Shawty gon' get that paper. Shawty tongue rip like razor. Shawty got wick, got flavor. Put in my tits in makeup. Shawty gon' get that.
Yeah, and I forgot what the caption said.
Shawty gon' get that paper. Shawty tongue rip like razor. Shawty got wick, got flavor. Put in my tits in makeup.
I don't know what you're talking about. We are deadly. Hey. But yeah, I have a couple more videos here, but I'm gonna use the rest of this time just to talk about like what I do, I guess. For the Facebook, here's my like page, River Indigenous. I just started it pretty much, 500 followers. I didn't even make my own header. I just Googled a random galaxy background and slapped it on. Here's like my description: Plains Cree, Neheo, from Saskatchewan, currently for living in Toronto, blah blah blah. Like just talking about what I do. And right here it says level up. That's what I applied for, and you can pretty much just make some money off like just going live and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. I think that's all I have. I'm not sure. But yeah, the way I use on TikTok and just making videos in general, I don't dance to impress. I dance to inspire, and my main, I guess, motto or how do you say this? Like saying, I guess, is like I grew up. Well, I'll tell you like a little tiny story. My mom passed away when I was like 13 years old, and I told her that I'm gonna make you like I made her a promise that I'm gonna be sober and live like a sober life. Like so, I'm pretty much sober all my life, but I pretty much just said like I'm gonna show you that I'm not gonna live like that cycle of like just waiting on like a welfare check and waiting like to go to the beer store and stuff like that and like just go grab a pack of cigarettes like what the stereotype people look at us. And I want to like break that cycle of like the younger generation and like how do you say this? Break the cycle so the younger generation can like pretty much follow my path, I guess, and like the sober and positivity and stuff and the the reserve is not the only place you can stay because it pretty like when I lived in my reserve, I was pretty much depressed and I went through anxiety and stuff. And I want to show that like it's possible to get out there and break that cycle and live your dream, I guess. And I'm pretty much living my dream and I'm really grateful and thankful for like what I have. Like all the stuff I have, like the gaming PC, like the Nike shoes, Jordan shoes, all this clothing, all this stuff I have. I didn't have it until now, and I'm like 24 years old. I didn't have all this, and I just wanted to put the word out there that you can. How do you say that? I had this word in my mind, but I forgot. But like patience is pretty much key. Patience is key in life because I waited 10 years for this, and I'm very grateful. Yeah, that's pretty much me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.
Chimigwech River. Wow, that was awesome. Maybe it was perseverance. Was that the word you were thinking? Keep pursuing. I don't know. And Chimi Gwech, Ryan, for everything that you shared. There's so much good stuff going on in this chat. Lots of tips and tricks, and I think it's really cool to see, you know, what everyone's doing. And there's can be small little things that you never even thought of. You know, that just seeing River's TikTok and seeing some of the things that people are sharing is really, I learned a lot already. So Chimi Gwech. I'll introduce myself. Yeah, so Anin Bojo, Kinawea, Ngitchinan Dam Wabamanan, Amanda Rheaume, Indigenous Kaz, Anishinaabe Aki in Donjaba, Anishinaabe Aki in Donji, Inigamat Ikwe and Dao, and I just learned this one, Nisimedana Ashi Nishwaswe Nidisibibonwe. So I'm learning Anishinaabe, which is really exciting. My name is Amanda Rheaume. I'm a citizen of the Métis Nation of Ontario. My Métis family comes from Red River in Manitoba, and my Anishinaabe family comes from Lac Seul, Northern Ontario, and my settler family comes from Scotland and Germany as well. And I feel really honored to be asked to be here today. I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been doing music for a really long time. And one of the things I said was that I'm 38 winters old. So I've been doing music probably since I was like 19, 20. So long time. And I've seen a lot of changes. And, you know, one of them being social media. And that didn't really exist when I started, I don't think. That means I'm pretty old. But, you know, I just think, aside also, sorry, from being an artist, at one point I did open and co-own a marketing and digital marketing company with a business partner. And I learned a lot about Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And you know, I've seen a lot of changes. And I think the one thing I can say is I'm still just trying to keep up. You know, there's a new thing every single day. And for me, it's been a challenge to feel like I'm on top of it, you know, and being an artist is a big job. You know, these are very particular gifts that we have. And not only do you have to be an artist, but now you have to learn how to do all this other stuff. And it can feel really overwhelming. And I wrote down a few notes that I wanted to touch on. I mean, I think this is an exciting topic, but one of the things while I was listening to Ryan and River talk, you know, speak, is that social media, I think it really was born out of wanting to connect to other people and wanting to connect with people that are maybe not right in your proximity, your neighbor or your family or your sister or whatever, your partner. And I still believe in social media in that way. There's a lot of noise, but one thing I was really thinking, listening to everyone, is, you know, we're always talking about how many followers and how many likes and all this stuff. And of course that matters. But something I wanted to bring forward is that it's better to have a smaller number of followers, but have them be more engaged. So you could have, you know, 60,000 followers, but you're only getting like 10 likes on your pictures or your posts. And, you know, I just really want to bring forward that it's better to have a more engaged audience than to be trying to get all the followers. And I think that, you know, there's a few ways to do that. Like, I'd rather have 100 people on my Facebook music page and get, you know, 80 likes on a picture. And the way that I've noticed that you can keep up your engagement and really like grow your community for real, because that's what we're doing as artists through these tools, you know, and there's going to be a million more as we go through time here. But, you know, if someone comments, comment back, like their comment back. Get into conversations if you can, you know, and this does go down to algorithm stuff, but it also goes to human stuff, you know, like going back and forth with people. It can, you know, it definitely takes time, but it does grow your community for real. And when you have like 100 fans that are really your fans, you're going to see greater returns, or lack of a better word, energy, money, whatever, from that engagement than, sort of only skimming the surface with your content, or with the people that are choosing to engage with you. Like, we don't have to do anything. I don't have to go and like Ryan's latest video on his Instagram, but I do that because I want to. So I think that, taking the time with people is really something I've learned, and it's hard to keep up with, but it's important. And which brings me to the next, the next thing is that I think as artists, I'll speak for myself. I've felt like, oh man, I better get on TikTok. I better get on Clubhouse. I better get on all these things. And I will say, advice that has been given to me is do a couple of things really, really well. You don't need to be on everything. You don't need to be, if people aren't engaged on your Twitter, don't do it. Like, spend your time with your community that is like, go where your community is, go where the energy is, go where the people are engaging with you. And I would encourage folks to not feel crappy about that. Like, it doesn't look one way for everybody. I just thinking about that, as a person that's tried to keep up and keep up to speed with everything. I think it's just really, really important to really go where your people are, basically, on your social media. So I was thinking about that. And then I wrote down a couple more notes. And I don't know if this is helpful, but something that I've also felt as an artist trying to manage everything else is like, oh man, what am I putting on my Facebook? I'm not doing anything, and kind of getting stressed out about like not keeping up with posting, and not keeping up with like, what am I going to say? Like, is anyone going to care? Just worrying about what am I doing on each channel, and how am I keeping it interesting? And that's a lot of work. It's literally a full-time job. People get full-time jobs to keep social media channels going. So I am also encouraging everyone to give yourself some love on this point, because it's a lot of work. And a suggestion that I was given to me, and some things I've learned, is if you take an afternoon, maybe at the end of each month, and you can make a calendar in Google or Word or whatever, and you can actually, what helps me is I've come up with, well, I'm working on this, but this is some suggestions, is you can come up with categories of content and do this in advance. So you're not like, oh God, what do I do? It's actually, there's a planning aspect to it. And I know this isn't the same for everyone, and doing stuff on the fly is also really, really awesome. But I like the idea of having sort of this steady flow of content that I don't need to worry about. I've already decided what I'm gonna maybe say on a couple of days, so that I'm not, forgetting things. And maybe coming up with a couple of content category ideas, like, like maybe if we do 4, I wrote down a few. So maybe one of your content categories is like doing a cover song. I'm speaking from a musician's point of view, like learn a cover, go on Instagram Live, go on Facebook Live, do that every Monday at like 5 p.m. or whatever. Like, just pick a time, just, this is what I do every week, every Monday at this time, I do a cover song. That's an idea. That to me, that's a category of content. Maybe another one is, a throwback. That's kind of an obvious one, but it's a simple thing to do that's keeping your content flowing, that you don't really have to think too hard about. If every Thursday I'm going to do this. Maybe there's another one where you pick something that has nothing to do with your art, like gardening. And you're like, actually, I do art, but I also really love to plant stuff or paint or game or whatever, and that could be a content category, because people, I think, if they're your fans, they want to know you holistically. They want to know you. That's why they're looking at your stuff. And I find that hard to believe sometimes, to be honest, but it's just real and true. And maybe another content category is every Friday you do a shout out to one of your favorite bands or your favorite artist or whatever. And, pick 4 or 5 categories, and then you can fill out like a actual calendar and say, I'm going to do this on this day, like, and it takes the stress off for me personally. I found that to be a really good trick. And then you can, just, there's actually tools. There's a tool called later.com, and you can schedule your social media. So you spend an afternoon punching in what you want to go where, and then you don't have to think about it really. And then it leaves you to live a little more freely, like with your in the moment stuff, and you can like pick things and show stuff on the fly, but you still have this steady flow of content, which I think is really great for keeping up with your audience. And that was an idea I had. If anyone has any like questions also like about that specifically, I just sort of did an overview there, but I have a lot more thoughts about scheduling and content creation and all that stuff. I guess there's two more things I was gonna say. I know that sometimes like it can be hard to think about spending any money on your social media, but I know that, like, for example, you need to have a Facebook business page. You can't really do promoted posts through your personal page. Same with Instagram. You can switch to a business profile, and you can attach like a PayPal account. If you have a credit card, you can pay through credit card, but you'd be surprised if you promote a post for like $10, it still helps. You don't have to have hundreds or thousands of dollars to spend on this stuff. Like, it could be $5. Like, who cares? Try $5 one day, see what happens. I've really found that to be helpful when I'm promoting something. I don't love the idea of having to pay to get my content up there in the channel, but as long as it's something I really care about, I feel good about that. And it makes it so that I can keep engaging with the people that care about what I'm doing. So that was another thing that I think it can feel scary to try to set up ads and all that stuff, but there's definitely ways to do something really small and simple that helps. And then I think really, I know we want to leave room for questions, but the last thing I was going to say, and it sort of ties back into authentic connection with your audience and just being for real, is something called Patreon. And I'm not sure that I would classify it necessarily as social media, but it, this pandemic, as hard as it is, and it's really hard, I know, for a lot of people. And there is also, I think, this light shone on wanting to support artists in a way, and Patreon, if you haven't heard of it, I know there's other sites like this, but you can set up sort of like a monthly subscription. Maybe it's $20, maybe you get 5 people. That's $100 a month, like stuff like that. And it's a kind of a cool thing that also keeps you engaged, A, with your art, but B, with your community of followers. And I think that something I struggle with is like, who's going to care about this? To be honest, if I'm being super vulnerable, like, who's going to care about what I'm doing, is a question I ask myself. And I think that I need to be reminded from the outside that people do care and they want to know what you're up to. Like, being an artist is a gift. And I think that's just something to remember. And when we're being our authentic selves, people can tell, and that you can do that on social media. It doesn't have to be this weird separate thing. And I think I've seen that that's when the most magic happens on my social media. And I think that's all. I don't know what else. I mean, I could talk about this forever, but those were kind of the things that I thought of, connecting authentically. Even if you have a small audience, engage with them. That's better than having a huge audience and no one's liking or commenting. But you have to actively engage with them. You have to comment, you have to respond. Coming up with a schedule and sort of content categories, just preload that stuff, go check out later.com. It takes a lot of the pressure off. Small advertising budgets are really awesome. And check out Patreon and believe that in yourself and that your art matters and that your voice is important.
Awesome, Amanda. I've been on Patreon since 2014, and like in its earliest days, and I've used it as a way to help build a company, but also there are different streams, like it's like a passive income, right? And as long as you are um, putting your offerings there for your community to support you, I've really found people like the idea that their $5 goes straight to your pocket. It's not $3.50 for you, a dollar for PayPal, and then 50 cents for some other company. Though Patreon charges fees on the money you make, of course, because they're offering the service. But I agree. But and you can also, there's another kind of offering. So there's a monthly offering, or there's a by piece of content offering. So if you were to say like, I charge $5 for every time I drop something on this platform, people can sign up for that, or you can set it up for it to be sort of a more general monthly offering. And I know a lot of writers, poets, comic book artists and illustrators and people, they will um, put new works up there, and everyone that supports monthly, um, like per unit, or I forget the actual word they use, but per offering, whatever they upload, that whatever people are supporting, whatever level they're supporting at, they get that piece of content. It becomes theirs. It's like they own it. So I'm a big fan of what Patreon has to offer creators as well.
Yeah, cool.
I guess the only other thing I wanted to add, we have it in the chat here. There weren't any questions on Facebook or YouTube, and so we've been invited to add a couple minutes each to the end of our presentation here. The only thing I wanted to add, which I think River touched on as well, is live streaming. The first year of the pandemic, I went live on my Facebook page all the time. I created a show and like a format to do it with through a character that I used to play. And I think that for me, the value of having a plan when you go live is really important. And so we could go live and like I'm laying in bed and I'm drinking coffee and I just want to talk to my friends and family and followers. That's all good too. But where I found a lot of traction is when I actually came up with a plan. And so I would show up and kind of create like a live show / experience for people to tune into. And that was a lot. I got a lot more engagement. I got a lot more viewers, and it was much more impactful than just kind of hanging out and chatting. Both are valuable, both are important. But I wanted to just add to what River was saying and mention that I definitely second what he's saying about, jumping onto a live stream and letting people see you in your studio, in your workspace, at your desk, in your kitchen, whatever you're doing. Amanda also hit on something important. They want to see you for who you are. Like you see us on TV and we've got the makeup on and we're wearing we're looking pretty good. But also I'm in sweatpants right now, not looking very good. So letting your supporters see you in that way too is really important. So yeah, that's all I want to add.
I was gonna add something as well. Yeah, for Amanda about the like like if you want people to be engaged with you, like go down in their comments and just reply to them and like their stuff. Like let them know you see them. Let your subscribers, followers, and stuff like that know that you see them and you see them supporting you and stuff like that. And now that's like really good. And for like if you want to do lives and stuff, find a way that you can give back and stuff like that. Like I'm pretty much gonna start doing like giveaways and stuff like that. So like I have a thing I just made on my live, all my gaming setup and stuff. I'm using Streamlabs, and it's like a streaming platform. Well, a streaming software where you can record your screen like what we're doing right now, and put it up for Facebook. And I just play some games. So I have my face cam, my game I'm playing. So I have like this little like top 3 star senders or something. So like that's pretty much me like shouting them out. Like they're giving me like they're giving me like literally like money and stuff, like giving me stars and stuff like that, like gifts. So I want to do a thing where I can like do a giveaway, and like all the people who like supported me, send me stars, subscribe to me, and just like to give back and to start doing like giveaways and stuff like that. Like I think that's like, yeah, just be engaged with your subscribers and stuff like that. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that because it really, I know it feels like one to many, but these are real people, you know, like we're all at home and we're all looking at all sorts of things. And, you know, there is an element of wanting to sort of capture people's attention and all that stuff. And I think that, yeah, one of the best ways really is to engage back, you know, and really get to know folks as much as you can. And I love that. I love the idea of giving back. Yeah, and that will look different for everyone, you know, for sure, depending on what you do as an artist. I saw someone wrote in this chat, what are some cautions you might have for breakout artists in social media? I don't know. I wish a long time ago I would have gotten a Facebook music page instead of using my personal page, you know, to just accept everybody, because it's hard to move people over. So I would recommend definitely setting up these business, or whatever they're called, business profiles, instead of, which is really easy if you go on your Instagram and Facebook, like you could probably Google how to do it, but just to separate that stuff helps later on. For sure. That's one thing I can think of. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have any cautions.
Yeah, I think, you know, you have to be really clear about what your short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals are on social media as it relates to your work, because, you know, like partly in my career as a comic, I'm not beholden to anyone. I don't have alliances. I'm not a cool kid like in the scene hanging out with cool people. I'm a fat old dad and I say fuck on the internet a lot. So I've chosen to have that space, to be my own space, because you know, I don't I have to be myself in order to practice my art, and I have to keep remain independent and not have these relationships with media companies and different broadcasters and organizations, because I write jokes about these people. So I've chosen to keep my space authentic, and basically you get what you get me. And I've lost opportunities at CBC Unreserved, that radio show. That's my show. That was my pilot. I created that series. I created the pilot, but CBC wouldn't hire me when I wouldn't turn over my social media. And I was like, well, first of all, you guys fucking invited me to your meeting. So, and then I created the show, and now you don't want me, so you can have the show. And I'm not coming here to do this, because they want you to be, you know, like a clean sort of CBC celebrity or host, right? And when you're in the CBC and when you work for broadcasters like the CBC, and it's not about the CBC, it's about anybody, you have expectations on your social media. So be really careful, be really clear about how you're going to use your social media in the short, medium, and long terms, because those things will come back to bite you. You know, I've been dragged into meetings. And this was 7 years ago, dragged into meetings, and we're like, well, we want to hire you, but here you've gone on a rampage against one of our journalists and told him he's a fucking loser or whatever I was saying. I was like, yeah, he is a loser. So if that makes me unhireable, then I'm unhireable and the meeting's over, and that's just fine. So that's a real life story from something that, you know, I lost a very well-paying job because of my social media use, and I don't regret it, but you have to be aware of those things, right? And I'm not talking about like being homophobic. I'm not talking about using racial slurs or anything like that. That's some bullshit you shouldn't do anyway. I'm talking about being intentional and sort of understanding that social media is forever. It's on the internet. So be very careful about your short, medium, and long-term goals.
Totally. Yeah, for sure. Be yourself, but also be kind and respectful and all those things. I caveat there, but or don't, but for sure understanding that is important. I think that's a really thanks for sharing that, Ryan, because it does matter, for sure.
And then the only other thing I wanted to say is like there's a difference between networking and creating community. Those are wildly different things. And so if networking is like finger guns and after parties and business cards and like, I got you, babe, and hey, you want to take a meeting? That's networking. Building community is something very different. And both are fine. But I think if you hang around long enough and you understand the industry that you work in well enough, you'll understand that there's more value in one than the other. And I certainly have come in my life to experience and value community far over having like a network, an industry network that, is really out to really just serve itself and bring you along for the ride sometimes, right? So those are very, very different things, and definitely something to consider. And I think that actually could be a whole workshop in and of itself, is network versus community, and how you do that, how you build those things.
Miigwech. I think that's really awesome, and I think we're done. Is that true? Is this the end? Yeah. I think we have our friend Dave might talk about some sponsors now.
Hey, Ryan. Great presentation today. Thank you very much, everybody, for your very kind words. Okay, let me try it again. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me at all? Yeah, I don't know what it is. Okay, well, I'll just close it up here. I want to say thank you to everyone here today. And on behalf of our sponsors, Canadian Council for the Arts, Ontario Arts Council, and Department of Canadian Heritage, our sponsors, we want to say thank you to Miigwech, and we will see you all again soon. All right, have a good day, guys.
Oh, you left my heart wide open. You threw it on the ground. Oh no, but where it is now, it's waiting to be found. But then last night I tried to call you. It rang once, then straight to voicemail. And my heart, it can't take this hurting. In the meantime, I'll be searching